Mama, I'm coming home. What's up, guys? Your boy Chris here of 1980 Something Co. And this is Runny Chat episode number 3, I think. I got my co-host with me, Rob's in town, so we got Rob in the building. Guys, today's guest is a good friend that I thank Virtual Flea and all the chaos of 2024 the most. He's been working with me on Virtual Flea since the second one. We talk regularly. In fact, this is like our weekly talk, except this time we're doing it in podcast form. If you've been a vendor on the Virtual Flea, you know him. But if you haven't, then it's because he prefers to stay in the backgrounds, which is why I wanted to have him on the show today so you guys can get to know him. Everyone welcome Quiet Works, a.k.a. Matt, to the show. Matt, what up?
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me. Thank you. Yeah.
Legend, man. Big legend. How you doing, bro?
Good, man. Good. Just enjoying this Wednesday, you know? It's nice.
Beautiful. Nice. Wednesday in LA over here. So yeah, let's get to know Matt a little bit. So let him know what you do.
So professionally or just for Virtual Flea?
Well, I guess let's do professionally.
Professionally, I work for a financial institution, but I do design work for them. So design, development, and then animation. So I won't get into too specific, but it's that's the general realm is financial institution.
Nice. Wow, that sounds gangster. Yeah, so like
trapping. So
not a reseller, but how did you get into vintage?
So the vintage community that I know of, I kind of found honestly like from yours, like from your channel before Virtual Flea, and that's kind of how I knew about it. Vintage in general, I mean, it's been a while. Like I would always just try to, go to thrift stores, go get stuff that like no one else had. I mean, it's typical story like everyone has. They just wanted to get something that was dope. That was like, 1/8 the price of going to like a normal mall store, and like no one else would have it. So that was kind of, my foray into it. And then, looking back on it, like I used to go to the flea markets with my grandparents when I was really, really young in Arizona. They had this like really badass flea market. And we used to go there whenever they were in town. We would go there every single day. My grandparents were addicted to it. Like they always loved it. But I remember my one of my most favorite teas, and probably one that's like super bizarre to have, is like, a 7 or 8 year old, was my grandma got me an all over print Malcolm X t-shirt from the thrift store. So I was like this like 7 or 8 year old kid wearing it to school, and people were probably like, what the hell? Like what's this kid doing? But yeah, I remember it was just like cool to have all that stuff. And yeah, now it's funny because like all that is like the, even going a little bit further, but all that is like the vintage of today. But at the time it was like, just what was cool was popping. But
crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that you were, thrifting before or maybe I did, but it's been so long since we talked about it. But I thought you were, because I know you're heavy into shoes, or at least you were. And I thought like you were one of those people that is into shoes, and I feel like all those worlds kind of move around each other. So it's like shoes, tees, street vintage, streetwear,
yeah,
and kind of it had always been in your space, but you didn't really like attach onto it until you saw Virtual Flea. But damn, that's crazy that you back in the day, because I'm the same way. Like I've thrifted my whole life. Like I remember going to thrift stores with my mom and stuff. But yeah,
it's I don't know. It's just one of those things, I had an older sibling, and they were a big influence in terms of that stuff too, which I think, again, is a lot of, same story for a lot of people. It's like they had an older influence. And, at the time, this was like, late 80s, early 90s. So it was like skate culture was huge. Sports were obviously big at the time. So, yeah, I remember like going to like, I think it was like Champs or something back in the day. And that's when I first started seeing like Salem. So, like I'm always posting on the page, like, show me your Salem stuff. Cause like, to me, that was one of my fondest memories of like clothing, was the Salem, especially like the mascot graphics. So that's always the one. Like I had the Miami one as a kid. I was lucky enough to get it, as an adult again, but just, it's again, the nostalgia factor of it. And yeah, it's one of those things, like, again, my mom was always really into thrifting. So I'd go with her to the store, and, she would just find stuff. And it was always, for her, it was more about like the bang for your buck. Like,
same.
I could go buy an entire season's worth of outfits, for like $40 back then, and
yeah, I remember very vividly my mom because my mom had me when she was very young. She was 17. So I remember her having her friends come over the house and her just being like, you like this outfit? And like, my mom really did look the flyest out of all her friends.
Yeah.
She would say, guess how much? 50 cents or however much it was back in the 90s, So that's one of my favorite memories of moms.
Yeah, I mean, that's a true flex right there when everyone's like, pocket watching, and then they're like, oh, damn, how much was that? And you're like, $1.50.
Dude, that's not the case anymore. But so you were saying about pieces that you had when you're, so have you done that? Like, is that the only piece that you did that with, where as an adult you bought a shirt that you had as a kid?
So there's a couple, like definitely the Salem is the one I remember the most, just because I don't know at the time, like, so I grew up in Arizona. My family was from Chicago though. So like, I've always been a Chicago sports fan. Even when, the Bulls are playing the Suns, like I was still cheering for the Bulls. So, but yeah, it was like a lot of like the Salem stuff is what I remember. I remember getting my grandma got me the Malcolm X shirt. Like she also got me, the Chicago Bears, like the big helmet on it. So like all that stuff, those are still pretty common these days. I haven't picked another one up, but yeah, definitely the mascot tees for me.
Nice. And what do you got on body right now? What's the on body?
This is a Naughty by Nature.
1993.
1993. That was old.
I got this on the Flea for, I don't know. I'm surprised. Like I mean, so Chris, you know me, Rob, you know me. Like I have a finite budget. I'll put it that way. Like I'm not out there to spend like 400, 500 on a tee. As much as I want to, like it hurts sometimes. Like, you're seeing some of these tees, like even, so Craig ran an NBA Jam last night, the one I was trying to get from you, Chris. Like, he ran the same one last night and I was like, all right, I gotta just get a max of like 150, which I knew probably wasn't going to happen. But it went to 175. But even then I'm like, oh, like, let me just put in a little bit more, But I'm like, nah, it's all good. I'll still wait. Like I think that's that's my main like superpower is just patience. Like it just, I'll hold off on it. So
you got to stick to your maxes, man. And I'm the same way. I think because I come from, like I was telling you guys, a time when I would get this stuff for $1, $2,
Yep.
And so even when things really spiked up, prices went crazy, which is 2020. All these auctions, everybody's is stuck inside their homes, and which is a theory that I have of why, another reason why prices went so up. So like right now, people have plans, they have trips maybe they want to take, but 2020, we had nothing, no plan. We were just in the crib. So it was like anything that we would save our money for, we would just save it for whatever was right there in front of us, which was the Virtual Flea. So that's why things went up. But even in that time when it was infectious, like you wanted to spend a lot. You wanted to be like, when am I going to drop an uncomfortable amount of money on a t-shirt? I'm waiting for the right one, or unless you're like a baller, then you're like, I'm going to do that with every single shirt. But that's how I had my control, is because I knew, I come from a time when getting these tees for $1 like that, the cheaper you could get it. Now it's funny how the culture's kind of shifted, where it's like, if I'm wearing a cool vintage t-shirt, it's like you should, instead of saying like, yo, yeah, I got it for $1, now it's like, yeah, I paid up.
Yeah. It is. I mean, I can't lie though. Like, I mean, I know there's a lot of debate right now that I see in terms of like pricing, and yesterday's price is not today's price, which is definitely true. And I mean, I'm sure you've seen with your sales on like Pop Shop, like shirts aren't going for what they were several months ago. But for someone like me, I mean, that's like perfect, because now I can actually afford things that I wanted to get. You know what I mean?
It's not that much of a shock to me, because I mean, what was a shock to me is when they went up.
Yeah.
I remember these tees being these prices before pandemic,
Yeah.
Where they're at right now is like, it's not that it's just normalizing. I always say this. It's just prices just normalizing,
Yeah. I also so I don't really sell too much. I sell every now and then, but for the most part, I just collect. But I'm in the same vein. It's like, if I sold it for X amount back in the day, like, I mean, it is what it is. It's just timing. It's like anything. I mean, it could be like, stocks, could be baseball cards, could be your house, you know what I mean? Like it's all going to fluctuate, like ebb and flow, and it's all good. I mean, it's not like I'm controlling the market, so just ride along with it.
Thanks. All right, so we asked your body. So every time I throw on a tee for a podcast, I wanted to kind of relate to the person that I'm interviewing, and it's funny that you bring up that you're not the kind of go crazy on a tee. So I decided to wear this tee that I paid the most for.
Oh, the sorayama. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's ridiculous, dude. That's the one that's another one I really want. But then like again, I got sticker shock on that one.
Yeah, man. So for everybody watching who's going to be wondering how much he paid, I'll share it with you guys. I paid $2,000
I was there
for this shirt.
I witnessed it.
I was in Miami. I was feeling good. So we had my event, Virtual Flea Miami. It's a vintage t-shirt event. We're in Miami. We're at the hotel lobby. It's the day after the event, and we're all just having a huge trade pit in the lobby. This shirt pops up. I had been after a sorayama, a good sorayama, for years, guys, years and years. And it's always the price, always way up there. Even before pandemic, when prices really went up, it was still up there. You know, it was still, even I think the lowest I ever heard of it was like $700. And it was for like a blue colored one with a smaller graphic. And that's just how much the tees went for, even before pandemic prices.
Yeah.
So for this one to be at $2,000, I was just like, look, one day I'm going to have this shirt, but no matter what day it is, I'm going to pay through the nose for it. So might as well get the one that I want right now. Here it is. And I ended up buying that shirt. Yeah.
Looks good. Next.
Yeah, that thing is sick, man. That's probably my favorite one of like his series.
Yeah,
so like, even though, so I kept it chill during pandemic, didn't go too crazy on buying things. Anybody who watched Virtual Flea saw me. I would tap out on auctions, even though they'd be like, Chris, do it.
Yeah.
The peer pressure was so crazy. But yeah, man, I when I finally did, it's because I did it for a tee that I know I was going to keep, that I know I had to have. And this is the one. I feel sorry for anybody during pandemic that bought a shirt for a crazy price, expecting to flip it.
Yeah. And then now you're kind of just holding it, or you're just going to sell for a loss. But I mean,
a lot of people did that.
Yeah.
Again, honestly, like it's no different than any other major market. You know what I mean? Like you see it all the time. Like I said, you see it in like financial stock market, you see it in car market, like used car values, for instance. Like my car is worth more than it was when I paid, you know, what I paid for it like 4 years ago, and it's a used car. Like that's so wild to me. Like this, you know what I mean? Like this is, it's just like it hasn't happened before. It's like unprecedented. So it's just like weird times on like what everything is going for, and you know, where things are settling. But like you said, it's normalcy. So, but before we move forward though, we got to get Rob's on body, because I got a sneak peek.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, he didn't know this, but this is one of my favorite movies too. So
I love the reason why you said of all the Kill Bills, this is your favorite one. I love the reason why you did, because it actually ties into your profession and what you do.
Yes, it does.
So
when that website came out, it was I forgot who did it. It was pretty well known like designer animator. This was going back to like the Flash days. For those that remember Flash, it's like completely gone now, except for it's kind of rebranded a little bit, but in general we can't use it anymore. But it was like the website. It was like the hottest site at the time when that dropped, and I remember just the animation of it, and like the sword, you know, going through the note and everything. It was just, yeah, it was perfect. It's like one of those things. And they also had a bunch of what was it, the Red Apple cigarettes, like the ads for that was like plastered all in the background of the site. Just like really well done, like art direction, everything was perfect.
It's funny, because that's exactly why I chose the T, was because of this emblem right here, basically. Because I didn't see much on the T that was on for Kill Bill. They usually have the name, or it's what's her name?
It's Uma Thurman, the
front and stuff like that. So when I saw the list with the knife, I've only seen that graphic on a poster.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the rare ones. The Hattori Hanzo, even little dragon dude, right? That's sick.
Yeah.
That's a sick one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool that you liked it, because you appreciated the website, and that's what you do, like website design, right? Or part of what you do.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. But yeah, I mean,
it shows me like how much you love what you do, that you love a movie website for the design that they have.
The specific graphic that was right there.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I fell into it. I mean, I've always been into art, you know, growing up, and for a long time I wanted to be a stock trader. But I got like super high anxiety and stuff. I remember going to see a doctor at like 15, and he was like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I was like, "I want to be a stockbroker." And he's like, "Yeah, you probably want to rethink that and do something else." So the art stuff kind of fell in, you know, like it's always been one of those things. And luckily it's it's been great because it's like a passion of mine outside of just like normal day to day. It's just what I like. So, you know, it's like the cheesy phrase of, you know, like do what you love, you never work a day in your life. But it is true.
Yeah, man. And you use that kind of, and this is how you and I met. So guys, so let's pick up. So Matt sees one of the lives. So you're just flipping around on IG. You see,
yeah, because I've been following you, and then you popped up like I think it was even before it went live, but you were just promoting it, and you're like, I'm doing a virtual flea, and it was like, hell yeah, this is dope. Because like, I mean, I'm in Chicago. I don't live near Rose Bowl. Like, I'm not just like driving over there to hang out. So I'm kind of disconnected from that whole scene. But when you were going live, you promoted it that week, I remember, and then you went live, and that's kind of like where I started following along and like what was going on with it.
Yeah, so you see the first virtual flea, and then what inspired you to do? So you see the first virtual flea. What are you thinking?
So I was honestly confused the first time I saw it. So I was like, all right, this whole concept is dope. I was like, but I remember specifically messaging you, and I was like, how do I go to this person's store? And you were like, oh, it's in my link tree. You go to their page, and then like they're gonna be live. So this was like before you were hosting, really. I mean, this was like you were like set out in the tent. You know what I mean? Like that was the backyard was week 1, right?
Yeah. So for everybody who doesn't know what virtual flea is, so pandemic, world shuts down, and I decided to do a virtual flea, which is basically where I go live on my Instagram, and then my vendors for this virtual flea market, I'll just have them listed in a link tree in my bio link. So on my Instagram, you would go to my bio link, they'd all be there, and then I guess I'd go live with each one and talk to them, talk about what items they have available, and then if the viewers wanted to buy anything, they would just message that seller directly. So I wanted to use, because at that time I had a pretty big Instagram following. I think I was like 50, 60,000 followers at that time. So I was like, I want to help someone who doesn't have this kind of following by doing this virtual flea. And yeah, so you had asked, how do I shop from these vendors? And I was like, just hit them up, just hit them shoot them a DM with anything that you see that you like. But basically, I'm going to be shining a spotlight on them just by going live with them and then having them in the bio link. And you were like, that sucks. I have a bio.
No. I didn't clown it that hard, like a little bit, but not that bad. No, but I remember I ended up like just like creating a mock-up for it and just like a little prototype, and I sent it over to you, and I'm like, hey, maybe something like this would be more helpful, you know, like honestly didn't think anything would come of it, just because I mean, like, you know, we didn't know each other. Like you could have been like, oh man, like who's this piece of shit? Like he's gonna tell me how to do this, you know what I mean? Like that's like definitely within your right. So it was definitely a bit of a gamble, but I was just like, oh, you know, feel free to use this if you want, like it's yours, just it might just be useful. But no, I remember you being like, oh shit, this is dope. And then I was like, all right, cool, let's, you know, chat on it. And then that's kind of what kicked it off. Yeah,
it's you and others that came and supported that made me even do a week 2, you know? So when you hit me up with that idea, a bunch of people were like, I want to sign up for week 2. I thought I was going to do that one weekend, kind of just like paying forward. Cause a little bit more background for you guys. They had stopped the flea market here locally for me that I sold at every week that I supported my family with. They cut it off. Lockdown, cutting it off. So I started my website, 1980somethingco.com overnight, and had a bunch of sales, and I felt very blessed, and I wanted to pay that forward by doing one virtual flea week. And I was like, I got to do something to help people. So there you go. We did a virtual flea. I thought it was going to be one and done. But then people were like, yo, sign me up for next week. Sign me up for and then Matt comes and he says, I have an idea for this. And I'm just like, wow, the energy came back to me where I was like, oh yeah, we got to keep doing this. And so, yeah, so you set up the website. It's got reminders. So you could go see all the vendors that are going to be on that weekend. You could set reminders on your calendar for when that particular set goes live. And man, we even had the raffles on there for vendors.
Yeah, I remember that.
So many people trying to be vendors that you could submit a request to be a vendor on the website. What was the most we ever got for vendors?
I think we had like 400 entries at one point.
I remember, yeah, it was over 400 for sure.
Yeah, it was like 400 to 500, I think, were like the entries. But that thing was wild because, yeah, we had that sheet. and I'd be like, yo, Chris, like refresh it, you know, and it's just like the numbers started shooting up. It was great. Like just the vibe around it was so dope. And like, you know, that led into, you know, like Devin was one of the vendors on. And you know, from that, he was like, yo, do you guys want flyers? You know, because like at first I was kind of helping out with some of that like design around it. So I did a couple of the very early flyers. I think I did like within the first 10 weeks, I maybe did like 3 or 4 of them, but Devin did the rest of them. And then from then on, like he just took it and you know, he's definitely been a huge part of it. So shout out Devin, Nostalgic Tees.
Yeah, man. Shout out to my dog Devin. I still work with him. I was actually talking to him today. He does a flyer for CyberSwap as well. So we got years now in the game with people that I've met because of Virtual Flea. And, you know, a lot of things came up because of Virtual Flea. Like there was a TV show that, you know, I was approached for. And then just like a lot of great things have come from it. But when I look back, one of the things that I'm the most grateful for are the friendships that I've made. You, Devin, Kirk, Angel. Like those are the things that have lasted. The TV show, you know, I think I even talked about on our podcast. That's already gone. Like so many of these big things that were supposed to happen are all gone. And now what's left are these friendships that I made that honestly I'll carry with me forever.
Yeah, likewise, man. I mean, like I said, I've mentioned it before, but like just the general community, like how they embrace me has been amazing. And, you know, I've met so many like great friends that I would consider friends, you know, from that. And especially like when you had virtual in Chicago and like we all got to meet and got to hang out with like Rob and like taking to Portillo's. And I see Rob walk in, he's like, hold on, let me get that. Pulls out a big giant wad of cash. I'm like, yo, stash that away out here right now. So, but yeah, I mean, like it was just like such an amazing time, man. It was like exceeded expectations, you know what I mean? And it just like cemented a lot of bonds for me. You know, because I mean, obviously, like speaking like we do, you know, we talk on the phone, talk like FaceTime, whatever. But I mean, like, you know, getting to meet and chill, like, you know, see Adrena, see the baby, like it was a good time, man. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And what's great also is like you do the weekly update of the website. We had the auction website as well. We'll get into that too. That was pretty fun.
Sure.
But you've done this all pretty much pro bono. Why haven't you worked for any money?
Well, shit, dude, I'm just saving that invoice, I think, for the 3-year anniversary, and then I'm going to drop that.
Oh, damn. So, with interest.
Damn, sell that
right now, bro.
Sell that wall. Like, yeah, I got the timer set on this call too. No, but you know, it's like passion project for me. Like it's like for me as like a designer creative, like, you know, I have my day-to-day work and, you know, that's like my job, but like I really love projects outside of that. And for me, this was like a passion project. Like there was no like scope, there's no boundary, there's no like, hey, I want like this specific look and feel, I want like this. It was just like creative openness, you know? And like to me, that was just fun. And like it's not, I don't see it as like work to do, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like part of my day-to-day. Like, you know, the schedule comes in and, you know, knock on wood, we haven't missed a week. I think the latest I've ever been was I published it on like the day of the flea, but it's always been in the morning at least or something, you know? It's
and that's not even because of you. That's because of me, because I'll get you the schedule.
Well, yeah, but I mean, either way, like we've never missed like a week, you know what I mean? So like we've had that consistency and no, I mean like.
But that's how it all started, you know. Even when I was doing Virtual Flea, I did it for the first couple months free. And, you know, one of my regrets about Virtual Flea is that I didn't do it every day when I first started it. I should have just gone live every day instead of doing a raffle and having only so many vendors on one, because we would only do it one day. It was Sunday.
Yeah.
But that's because I was being pulled in different directions where I was trying to also still have my website running to sell things. I never saw Virtual Flea as a way to support myself. And that's really what I wanted to get to when I said that when I brought up that you do this completely pro bono is because like I never knew that I could support myself and my family off that. And when I did, like, I just want to say thank you to you, man, because you and Devin and, you know, we all like that changed my life and helped me take care of my family in a time when I was really sweating it. Like I did not know how I was going to be able to do it. So
no, for sure, man. I mean,
I'm because of the support of everybody who tuned in and people like you who supported and
yeah, man. I mean, honestly, it's all love. I mean, like I never went into this being like, oh, what am I going to get out of it? Or like, what am I like? It was just, honestly, it was like a whim. Like, hey, I got an idea for it and I threw it over the fence, you know? It worked out, you know what I mean? Like we've done like quite a few projects together, like outside of just like Virtual Flea, which has been great. But no, I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I didn't expect anything in the first place. So like for me, I'm not losing anything by any of this. You know what I mean? Like even if this were to go the complete opposite direction, you were like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to make a site. I'm doing like 1 week of this. It's still okay by me. Like it's no like love lost. It is what it is. Like, I don't know. The thing that I really enjoy is if you do find that like passion project, it again, like creatively it's fulfilling. And that's like what this has been, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what it is for me. I'm not like, expecting anything. Plus, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you did give me the hackers t-shirt. So I mean, that is pretty sick.
Any tee that Matt wants, it's his. He tells me I won't know he wants it sometimes until he's bidding on it when I'm auctioning. I'm like, Matt, why didn't you tell me? I would have just gave you this.
No,
yeah, man, we've tried things, and I'm very much like, have you seen Private Parts, the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Not like someone's private.
Unfortunately, no. The Howard Stern.
Howard Stern, the movie.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that movie. One of my favorite movies. And I love that he pretty much never forgot about his friends. Always went back for his friends. I was like, bro, that is so me. And you know what I mean? I'll never forget what you did for me. Appreciate you. We've tried,
man, absolutely.
Things. We tried the auction website. That was fun. And it actually generated.
It went well. Yeah. I mean, it honestly went well. It was just, it was one of those things like, there are probably some things that could have been improved on it, but I mean, like, it had a lot of buzz. I remember, like the first night it launched, remember that? I was like hitting you up. I was like sending you screenshots of like the traffic coming in and everything. I mean, we saw like, we had like, I think a couple hundred people on it like the same time. Like it was definitely cool. I mean, it was one of the things where it's like, you want to try this? And we're like, why not? You know what I mean? Like we had nothing to lose. Like it was just, and I think at the end of the day though, like Virtual Flea is the focus. You know what I mean? Like that has been the focus. I think now with like Pop Shop is definitely like defocused now too. Like that's like grown from where you were originally. Like at the time, like before all that came along, I think if we worked on separate projects, I think Virtual Flea was still like the core, and that's just what we want to dedicate more time to. So again, it was one of those things where like, I don't know, a lot of people showed us love and support on it. And I think I'm super thankful to everyone that used that site. I mean, good, bad, or otherwise, like I'm glad that people just like actually used it. Like getting one sale on that site was just like my goal.
Right.
And that's all that I really like could hope for. Like that was the coolest thing, just to see something like you put out there and people like actually find value in it. And yeah, I mean, like I said, we did it, we tried it, and it was cool. I mean, I'm not upset it's gone. It ended up being quite a bit of work, but I mean, again, I hope it provided value to someone at that point,
Yeah.
And I think too, like, I just want to, for those that use the site, and if like we were ever slow in responding, just realize that it was like literally Chris and I, like, and that's like outside of like normal job, you know what I mean? So it's like, after work that I could go on and respond to stuff. But I mean, we were using an open source system, and, it had its own like kind of quirks to it that, if we invested a bunch into like a custom platform, maybe it would have been different. But again, I have no regrets on that project. I was super happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, it made it work.
All right, fave Virtual Flea stories, memories.
Oh man, anything SK1er.
So for those who don't know, SK1er was one of the first whales to go onto the show that would just buy crazy. He'd win any auction. Just a savage, and nobody knows who he is. He's very short in DMs, if he even responds to you, if he has a reason to respond to you. Just a killer buyer, and the first one. After that, there's been, and every once in a while, there's just a guy that'll just come through and just be a crazy buyer, But
yeah, it's so wild. Like
he just got out the game, and we never heard from him again. So people they'll tag him, they'll send him stuff. They're like, he sees it, but he doesn't respond.
Yeah, he's like mythical. I also heard he had some pretty pretty wild photos on his page too. I don't think I ever like got accepted to his page, but but that guy was legendary. And then I mean, I've told you this before. I think I might have even said this on when we were talking before, but definitely the fly. That's got to be one of my favorite things.
I was on a Zoom meeting earlier and a fly landed right here on my head. And just like right away got flashbacks to this. So this was
what's the fly?
So the fly, we were doing a live and I was hosting this young kid. But before I hosted him, actually, we got to go back.
Yeah, got to back up a minute.
Raghouse Ricky, shout out Raghouse Ricky. You met him. He was at my birthday.
Yeah.
Raghouse Ricky, he had this thing where he would just chug beers. He's just a beer drinker. I think he even had a segment for a little bit that he was doing where he was like doing reviews on different craft beers.
Yeah.
He's just crazy. So
like we're getting drunk on live.
Yeah, so when we get on live, we'd be like, yo, let's crack one, let's shotgun a beer, let's chug a beer. And so we started doing that. And then this particular day, we're going crazy. I think after every auction, or like, if this goes over this, and it wasn't even a high number, if it goes over $50, we're gonna chug this. And we ended up getting tossed on the line. So his set finishes. He told me also later on, he was like, dude, after that set, I napped. Like my sister had to answer all my DMs and I didn't wake up till hours later. But yeah, so I now I'm hosting this other guy and I'm just drunk and I'm just like, it's just blurry. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to act like I'm hosting, but I'm drunk. Because it's not fair to be drunk for the next guy. You know, he's really.
I think he was drunk though too.
Was he?
I think he was drinking like White Claws or whatever. Like,
drinking with you, watching your.
Yeah, that's kind of my memory, but maybe not. It was
Dude, 2020 Virtual Flea was just a sloppy mess, and I miss it because now when I go drunk on live, because I will every once in a while, if I'm bored or I don't know if I just want to, I'll just start drinking, and then like people are just like all judgmental, like he's drunk. Oh my God. But I remember 2020 pandemic lives, people were like, yeah. And I would just be borderline blacked out. But anyway, I'm hosting this kid and I don't feel it, but what happened to me, the way I remember is I'm just hosting him and he pulls out his phone, he takes a picture, he's like, oh, dude, right away, just going crazy. Like, dude, there's a fly on your head. And even then, it didn't process. I was like, what? So a fly.
Dude, your eyelids were like half down like this. You were like, there's a fly on my head. And you're like you were just like, we're in another dimension, I think. So you didn't know what was happening.
I was like, huh? What?
Yeah.
And then I looked at myself on the video and I saw a black dot and I was like, what the hell is that? And then it just flew away.
That was like one of those California flies, man. He just like sat there and like chilled because he was just like hanging out on your face. Like it wasn't even like a normal fly that just like and like takes off. Like that thing was just like, I don't know, it was like chewing on your sweat or something. Like that thing was just
chilling.
And I did not feel it. Honestly, I don't think I've ever been embarrassed hosting lives. I've said this before, but I think that's the only time I ever was embarrassed. I was embarrassed that time. I was like, damn, I'm drunk. This is not good.
Dude, that was a good one. And then I think what was even like the follow-up to that was when Devin made the flyer for that though. When you like anamorphed into a fly. Like that was just like the cherry on top. That was perfect. Like it was just, that whole thing was awesome. So yeah, there's a lot of like, it's funny because like people that got in,
that is always teasing me. I love that those are that is your favorite memory. It's not the 6K genie or the 6.1K.
I mean,
Lisa or
we could go wholesome, but like that's not
just the time that a fly landed on.
Yeah, you know me. I'm not trying to be like wholesome over here. Like, oh, it was really great. We could do all these. I mean, like, yeah, it's great. Like, you know, people paid their bills off of like a lot of virtual fleas. You know what I mean? Like they cashed out, which is awesome. But like, you know. That fly on your forehead was something else though.
Yeah, man.
I've seen a couple genies come and go, but I haven't seen a lot of flies come and go on your forehead. So
all right, what's the most you've paid for a piece though?
Oh man, that's embarrassing. Like I'm not even in the realm of like where people are like, yo, that's mid. I only dropped like $200. Like probably 250 was I paid 250 for my my Mr. DNA, the Jurassic Park one.
Ooh, that's a sick
from Keenan, yeah.
That's a hella steal right there.
Yeah, from Keenan. Yeah, he Smacks Chicken Shack. Shout out.
Yeah, what's up with Keenan? I haven't seen Keenan in a minute. Hope you're good, dog.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's been like traveling and working out and stuff. So, still working everything. So yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. But yeah, 250 for the Mr. DNA. That's pretty good. And yeah, that's pretty up there. Because usually when I see you bidding and I see you going into like $80, I'm like, oh damn, this guy's going crazy.
Those kids
like high for me when I see you.
Yeah, those kids aren't getting groceries this week, so that 250 set the family back. Like they had to just eat like toenails and shit for like a week. So
yeah. So guys, Matt, the homie, we started working together 2020 March is when we started Virtual Flea, and we never met. I met Devin, who does a week. He went to the first virtual in Orlando, which was later that year in 2020. That was 2020. And but I didn't meet Matt until this year. This year was
20. Yeah, was it 2022? Yeah, it was March.
Yeah, it was March.
Yeah,
so actually 3 years, because Virtual Flea started in March. So we met 3 years from when we started Virtual Flea, and we started talking in the DM. 3 years. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
Constant contact, but never had a chance to meet. And yeah, that was crazy. But Chicago was a lot of fun, man. Thank you for making that one of the best trips and the best virtuals for me. Like,
no, that was great. I'm glad you all came out.
Yeah, thank you. You let me in.
Yeah, I mean, it was so just like as a testament to like, because I think, like as a testament to like Chris and how he rolls with friends. Like Rob is like a childhood friend of Chris's, and like Chris was there, like Chris Molina was there, and like just like Ellie was there, and like it was just like it was amazing to see like Brittany came. Like it was amazing. I'm trying to think of everyone that came from California, but like it's just amazing to see like people that you grew up with that go so far back, like going out to support you, and like that's a big testament to like who you are, because like if you're a shitty friend or you suck, like your friends aren't gonna go support you for that. Yeah, exactly, Rob. I mean, Rob already showed up like half an hour late to this call today, but I mean, I'm not gonna let that like.
Yeah, man.
He's like the traffic. I got stuck in the traffic.
We have family.
Uber, bro. Uber don't care about family.
Uber. I mean, yeah, this guy doesn't care. I got to go to sleep in like 15 minutes, but he's like, but no, it really is like, it was awesome to see. It was just like such a cool event. And it was great that like you guys came in early too, because it wasn't just like, all right, come in for virtual, stay the weekend. Like, we got to hang out. We hit up the zoo. Like we got nice weather. Fortunately, you got to see me flex in just a t-shirt.
Wow.
No jacket. For the Chicago kid, just straight up.
You're crazy, bro.
Yeah, he said it was nice weather, but I was freezing, and he was just in a t-shirt. Bro. I tried to be brave one day and just wear like a hoodie without another layer on top, and I was freezing that day. But yeah, man, Chicago was nice. We did get there earlier. Matt opened up his doors for us, and we stayed at his place. Beautiful place. And one thing I remember when I was there is just looking around and being like, man, I have a friend that lives in Chicago, and I'm staying at his place, and like I don't know, that just blew my mind. It was like we met over internet.
Yeah,
we did this virtual thing together, and it's just one of those moments where it's like, damn, technology is pretty sick.
Yeah, and like just to get even more creepy, like just wait until we release all that footage of you that like you had around the camera.
I knew that camera was on. Yeah. Like, turn it off. Don't worry.
I'm like, don't worry, nothing's on, man. Nothing's on.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we got to see the city. He showed us around, and that's probably my favorite part of the Chicago trip. Of course, every virtual is a blast. We turn up, but the time spent there before the actual event, hanging out, seeing the sights, that was really cool, man. I feel like I got a real good taste of the city
of Chicago.
Yeah,
no, virtual is cool, man. I'm glad Rob was there because like I saw Chris for like 10 minutes the entire time because he's like, all right, man, I gotta go to work now. And then like everyone's like, yo, Chris. It was like, yeah, it was wild to me. Like, I guess I didn't think of that, but it's like, this guy's hitting celebrity status. So luckily, I was able to like chill with other people.
Awesome, yeah, dude. I would feel bad because I'd be like 50 what's ups, down the line. Yeah. Like, yeah, man, all right, bro. Oh, okay, I'll catch you later. I'd be like, oh shit, I was just with Matt. Where the hell? I was just like, where did Matt go? Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie though, that was a great weekend because I got to just chill by myself in a hotel too. So it was like going to bed super early. I was like, man, it's a treat over here. Like kids aren't yelling.
Didn't you stay up one of the nights? The day?
Yeah. The first night I stayed out with everyone and like that was a good time. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like my sleep, like I'm like a toddler, man. I probably need to sleep like 15 hours a day. So, so anytime I get a chance for that, I enjoy it. But yeah, it was a blast. Like it was just, again, it like exceeded expectations, like what you have in your head, and it was like above and beyond. So yeah, it was just great. Like everyone just felt like super connected. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's like, you may not even know anyone. Like I met Rob at Virtual, but like, it's just like everyone connected, and like, it was a good time.
Yeah, man, it was a great time.
Great
Chicago,
vibes. Great
Virtual,
vibes
man.
that whole weekend, dude. Yeah. And the city is beautiful itself, like the architecture and everything like that.
It was fun. So I was telling
I've never been to Chicago, so I thought Chicago was going to be like, don't go out after this time.
Yeah, they scared us. What's up with that? They scared the shit.
Man, that's.
But like we were
leading up to the event, there was people that were like, "Yo, don't leave the hotel. No matter what you do, don't leave the hotel." I was like,
they were like, you guys are tourists and stuff like that. Watch out! They're robbing people before they get to their hotels and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man. I was like, okay.
Which I'm sure that does happen, but you put it really well actually when I was telling you when I was scared and I was telling you like
when I was holding you, I was like, shh, it's okay.
It's gonna be okay. I got you.
No, I mean,
we went out at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, we went at 4 a.m. We're mobbing around,
taking pictures and stuff like that.
We were like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. I'm not afraid anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, man. I think like a lot of that gets sensationalized, like, stuff in the media, especially like if you're not from here, like you see a lot of it in like a very negative light, but it's like,
exactly.
I mean, you saw like where you were staying at. I mean, like, I don't know, that didn't seem scary. I mean, like I've been out around there, but it's like any big city, like, yeah, you got to pay attention, but like, you can't also just live in fear. You know what I mean? It's just,
true.
Yeah, shit happens. Again, I think it's, any like major city, there's just stuff that happens. And I don't know. I love Chicago though. Like I think it's a great city, but it's funny because I was telling my wife about, because she was like, oh, what did they all think when they came in? I'm like, they're tripping out on were the alleyways. I was like, they kept saying how dope the alleyways were. And I was like, what the, like, because I remember like we were walking out of like the townhouse and you were like, yo, is that a brick alleyway? And I was like, yeah.
No, it's not that.
Yo, it's because we're from LA and an alleyway means like a bunch of homeless people and just like piles of human shit and just like, you know what I mean? Like it's fucked up, but it is like when you see an alley, it's just like a dog-sized rat, just like the smell of ass and just immediately hits you when you hit the corner.
Going back and forth. Just
like, so I like the first alley, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. The second alley, I was like, oh, that's just clean. But the third alley, and then every alley after that just being super clean, I was like, okay, hold on. I got to compliment these alleys. We got to talk about these alleys.
It literally looked like there was a crew that came out at like 12 at night and just cleaned everything up before you woke up. And you go out there and you're like, oh, wow, it's all clean and stuff like that.
No, it was clean. It was just like the corner, the where the ground meets wall and just nothing. It was just clean. We were in the middle of the city. 4 a.m. and it was like beautifully lit and just clean.
Like, you know what though? We do have the rats though. Like like where you guys stayed, we got that. that cookie place we went to.
Yeah.
I think they like hang out behind that place. So like we get them every now and then. But there's some big boys in there. Like there's some.
And they stayed away.
Yeah, they stayed away.
One bum, bro. Not one bum. And
but also,
like, dang, maybe because it's so cold, they just all piece up together.
I mean. Yeah, wintertime is no joke. Like, I mean, luckily when you all came in, they were like,
we had a joke where it's like, yo guys, it's too fucking cold out here, right? Yeah, it's cold. You guys want to just piece up on a crib? We could all just get a crib. I was like, they probably all live in a house. Like,
yeah, it's wild. I mean, it definitely gets cold out here. Shit, what was I about to say about the alleyways? So. This is no bullshit. I mean, it's gonna sound like bullshit what I'm about to tell you, but also one of the reasons too, I think they try to do decent with like the rat problem is they have like coyotes and stuff that like the city unleashes at night. So they keep them in like a pen downtown and then they unleash them at night and they're like tagged or whatever. But they just like straight up roam the street. So like, where the hotel was, like right by Michigan Avenue?
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the night, you'll just see like a coyote just like chilling out in front of like the Burberry store or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like really wild. And like whenever people hear that, they're like, what? No way. And it's kind of like, I remember that's the same thing. Like, doesn't Disney have like cats they let out or something? I heard.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
at Disneyland.
What?
I also heard no one died at Disney, right? Like they like take your body like off property. So like no one ever truly dies at Disney. Maybe not. I don't know.
But I'm still stuck on this coyote thing. Do they wear a badge? Do they have like a uniform? Like, do they have a cool vest?
Yeah, all that. They got vintage Chicago tees, and it's like, you know, with like the skyline on it. And then no, they
I'm just seeing Zootopia right now. Just like
yeah. They definitely all roll in a pack. They got like similar outfits. No, they're just like chipped, I guess. And then they come back because they know that it's like guaranteed like food every night, you know. So
well,
I don't know where they keep
coyotes. We thank you for your service. Yeah, because
I didn't see one.
It was clean.
Doing a good job.
Yeah. But it's wild though to see. Yeah.
Let's get into some things from this week. So first day of school last week. How was it taking the kids back to school? Let me know.
It was good. Yeah. So we started this week. So we're a week after you. So I remember I called you and I got like the lowdown, you know, ahead of time. But no, honestly, it was great. Like you know, they had a good time going. There weren't any issues in the morning. It's, if anything, like it's just like more on myself. I'm like, oh, I gotta wake up early now, you know. But no, I was actually surprised. I'm not gonna lie. Like it went way better than I thought it was
just
going
go
to.
back. They weren't like in the summer, because my son was like, dude, the summer, man. I wish the summer was longer, he said.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely felt that, but I think too, it's just the fact that they get back to school, they get to see their friends they haven't seen in like a while, and you know, just new classroom, new teacher. Yeah, they were just excited for it. So yeah, it was great. They did really well, and then yeah, it's already, you know, midway through the week. They seem to still, you know, they're still going, so that's good.
My son was not too hyped about it, but I just told him, you know, it's good to go back, hang out with friends. Same thing you told him. And he said, he's like, yeah, but I still like, yeah, that sounds cool, but you know, I still wish that the summer was longer. I was like, well, remember during the pandemic when you were out of school? Because then he was like, I need to go back. I want to go back. I want to hang out with my friends. I was like, remember when you wanted to go back? You know, and that kind of just like gave him a perspective. And I was like, oh, I could tell he was thinking about it. I was like, so, you know, just take, like, it's something that you got to do. You got to go to school. You're always going to have to do something. I want to get him into the routine of understanding that he's always going to be learning. Because I feel like that's something that we have to, because we're so programmed to work so that we could take time off. Yep. Instead, if you look at it as a never ending kind of like you never stop learning, and you should be able to enjoy that and appreciate that and have fun with learning. You know, it's actually fun when you embrace it.
Yeah, I think too, you know, I mean, I'm not saying anything new here, but definitely like, you know, learning new things keeps you interesting too. You know what I mean? Because it's like something to talk about, something, you know, to converse with. And I think, you know, from a skill set standpoint, I mean, like you never want to be stale. I mean, that's like, you know, you never want to be replaceable. You know, that's like the main thing in like any sort of like job economy. Like you want to, you know, you kind of want to be that person that can wear different hats or do whatever, you know, and you want to be replaceable. And like, you know, it takes time to get there, but it's that constantly like trying to learn something. And, you know, hopefully he does want to do that. You know what I mean? Cause I think it's part learned, but I think it's part of who you are too, you know? So it's one of those things that like, you know, you see as they get older, but I think, you know, he seems like a really good kid. I know he's like really into like the art stuff. So I think he's going to be an artist.
Oh, yeah, no,
something like that.
Good, man. Yeah, he loves art, so we focus on him and have him do a lot of art. He actually just did a pottery class. He's doing like a pottery class, like a 2-hour long class.
Nice.
I don't know how many times a week. So yeah, man, he's good now. We just, you know, took him to do. I just wanted him to have confidence. So I was like, yeah, let's do all the things that I think would help build his confidence. So we went, got him a nice fresh haircut.
Yep.
A bunch of new clothes. We all, on the day that we dropped him off for his first day, went together, me, Drina, the baby. We all got in the car and we like, you know, went together, like kind of show like support. And yeah, sure enough, that day after school, he was all good. He came out, he was happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like, you know, before kids, like, you know, there's no there's no like rule book on like being a parent, like, and that shit's hard, you know, like there's a lot of things that happen that like you never expect, but like the one thing I can say is, you know, like building their confidence is the biggest thing you can do for them, because, you know, just being an independent person and being confident, you know what I mean? Because, you know, how many people did you grow up with that you saw that like, you know, they just kind of fell under like, oh, so-and-so did this, so I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? And like, you kind of make bad decisions in that regard. And I think like being your own individual, and, you know, sometimes that's not always like the best, like they could also act out, but at the same time, like, you know, I think that's great. Like for my daughter, especially, like I want her to be independent. Like I don't want her to rely on anybody, you know, and I don't want her to have to like, you know, like seek out situations or whatever, you know. I want her to like just be her own thing. And like, I think it's great because like, you know, she's super independent. I mean, for better or for worse, like, you know, she's kind of, you know, she could be a bit of a troublemaker sometimes too. But at the same time, I'm like, you know, that's great. You're not like conforming to whatever the next person did. So,
for you, building that confidence means just supporting them and helping them believe in themselves. Because yeah, once you become an adult, if you have that confidence, you're down to try anything that you believe in. You know?
Yeah, just having them like be independent of like, you know, like sometimes they're like, oh, can you help me with this? I'm like, well, I want you to try it first. You know what I mean? Like, not just like jumping in there and be like, let me spoon feed everything. Like, no, you got to like get in there.
And if you don't do it right, like you could try it again. You know?
Yeah, like failing isn't bad. You know what I mean? Like that's the one thing too. It's like failing doesn't mean everything's over. Like, you know, very successful people have failed multiple times, you know, and
learning stuff.
And yeah, exactly. As long as you're learning from it.
Those are my two main things. I want to give him confidence, help him build his confidence, and then also just get him used to learning. And that's a concept that I could tell he's not really rocking with too much. I'm like, Papi, you're going to always have to learn. You're always learning. And he's just like, okay. I can tell he just nods his head, but he's like, nah, when I get older, I'm not going to learn. Like, I'm going to fall back, Dad. You know, because that's what I thought when my like, when you get older, you got to do this. And in my head, I'd be like, first of all, I'm going to eat McDonald's all day.
Yep.
Play video games. Okay. For like 5 years before I do anything.
Exactly, man. That's like what but it's always like that hindsight. Like it's so bizarre. Like, you know, like being an adult now, and you do think back to like, you know, we talk about nostalgia and all that stuff. And like, you know, being a kid had like so many great perks. And I think the biggest thing was just like, you know, zero responsibility, you know what I mean? And like, that was always the thing. And, you know, like looking back on that, like I miss it a lot, but at the same time, like, you know, you do get older, and I mean, there's definitely perks to that too, but yeah, it's an interesting thing. And I think like having kids too, like you're seeing that all over again, and you're seeing it from that perspective. So like you're trying to weigh in, and I think they won't probably realize it until they get older too, because it's just like cyclical, because, you know, they don't want to hear what the parents are saying anyways. Like they're just it's one ear out the other.
Joke. It's a sick joke because you've gotten older and you've lived through it, and you're like, all right, yeah, if I could go back, I'd do it again. Then you have a kid and you're like, all right, I got this one. Like, yeah, we're gonna be good. But then they don't, like, it's hard to explain to them that you know the future. Yeah. Because they also have their own ambitions and their own beliefs, and they're just like, no, well, you know, I think I'm going to do it this way. Why would I want to do it the way you're saying? It's a crazy thing, but it's a life's work, and it's super fulfilling to do every day. I really enjoy being a dad, but yeah, man. I mean, look, I'm 36 years old. I'm still learning. I have to learn how to do damn TikToks now. That's my new thing. I have to learn how to do TikToks and Reels. You never stop. And but if you embrace the learning, that's what makes you, you know, or at least I believe is what keeps you in the game and what keeps you moving. Like, you know, it's a tough time right now for me with, you know, Instagram making all these changes, but I've sat my ass down, enjoyed learning and you know, trying to take that on. And now your boy's making really cool reels about semen on t-shirts.
Man, that one was classic.
Oh shit.
I read that one, and then I saw it, and then I immediately went to the comments, and it was like just such a mixed bag, and I was like just dying, because it's like, I think there's, you know, an element that like don't totally know you. You know, like they know you from like whatever IG, but they don't totally know you. So like there's just like some of the comments I was just dying on, because it was just like, I feel like, because that's just like the sense of humor, like, you know, like
some guy was like, come on, man, I have kids. I'm like, what are they doing on your Instagram? Like, what? Oh man, when it comes to that kind of thing, I think you and I have had this conversation before, like, because I've had people tell me like, yo, my kids are watching, or my kids are this and that. Look, at the end of the day, I have to be me. I feel like if I'm even going to be effective in sending any message, I have to be me, which, you know, and I think as a parent, you have to be the filter, not try to filter the world. You have to be the filter for your kids, you know, because they're going to meet a guy who cusses on, you know, I cuss on live, or, you know, they're going to meet that whether you are there or not. Yeah. So look at that as an opportunity for you as a parent now to explain what that is. Maybe you say, you know, he's doing, this person that is setting an example, or is your role model is doing this, but also like if they do something bad, like this is bad. And, you know, the consequences and repercussions of that would be this. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I 100% agree. I think that's the big thing is like, you know, the hardest thing is like have that conversation, and like sometimes people just don't want to have it, so they want to avoid it. But it's like, you know what, like you can't keep shielding everything, you know, either. That's like the opposite of what you want to do. So I think like, yeah, if you explain things in a way that like they understand, then they get it. But at the same time, like, I mean, you know, if they're watching that on Instagram, I don't know, they might be old enough already to have that conversation. But I don't know. I thought that shit was hilarious. So
yeah, man, I'll, you know, talk about that stuff, because it's like either you talk about it and you prepare them for it, you know, when they come across it, which is a lot earlier and maybe makes parents uncomfortable, but it's just a reality, or you leave them to make their own decisions about it, or become a victim of
yeah. Or their friends explain that shit to them, and that shit's like, you know, I remember learning some things very early on. Exactly. Yeah. My friends told me some shit when I was younger, I remember, and like completely inaccurate, but like just off the wall.
What was it?
It was about
this is an adult show.
Yeah, it was about how like kids were made, I remember. And then the dude was just like, oh, if you put your thing in their butt and then a baby pops out. And I was like, oh, word? I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, I didn't know anymore. And I was like, okay.
He was close. He was
wrong
like,
hole. Yeah, like he probably needed to consult a book or something. But you know, back then there was no internet, so you know, he had like whatever source he was going off of, like his dad's Playboy magazine or whatever. So
speaking of reels, I also posted one, the guilt trip prank. Did you see that one?
No, which one was that?
So I left the shirt that I'm doing the Fit Fade challenge with, the shirt that I'm like running in for 30 days.
Oh yeah. With the burn.
Yeah. So I went to the backyard and there was a hole in the back of this shirt, this wrap tee that I paid $800 for. People were like, "You're an idiot for paying $800." That's a whole nother thing. You have to know that there's shirts that cost that much.
Yeah. And
I actually got that for a good deal. But anyway. But yeah, so I left the shirt out there to dry, which it got a hole burned into it. Do I wish there wasn't a hole burned into it? Yeah, but I mean, the fact that it did get the hole, I'm already trying to fade it. Like I'm trying to get as distressed as possible.
It's gonna be distressed, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to see, it had already got another hole on the side too. So I was like, when the first hole showed up, I was like, I kind of like how it's gonna get this natural distressing from me, you know, doing this to it. I'm looking forward to getting more wear on it. And so when that one came, I was like, you know, this could be one of those holes that I want to see pop up on the shirt. But if I felt like so violated that somebody straight ashed their joint in my shirt.
At first I was like, oh damn, Drino, what'd you do?
Justifiable.
So I was just like, man, I'm just gonna guilt trip everybody. Because as soon as I brought it up, everyone was like, I could just see they all felt so bad, and they were like, they were like.
I felt so bad. There was only 3 of us back there smoking, so it was like, it's one of us.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what?
Oh shit! So what? Wait, it wasn't ash like from one of you guys?
It had to have been. It was actually. It was.
It had. You know, there was.
Somebody said it was like concentrated light.
Yeah.
But I left the shirt there the next day, and it didn't work.
But no.
Yeah, that was that theory. Whenever that got brought up, I was like, damn, there's like Bill Nye in the comments out here, like just straight up like Mr. Wizard, like, oh, the refraction at this angle at the 12 o'clock hour burned a hole. I'm like, holy shit, like fucking quantum physics going on and stuff. I was like, yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah, but Rob actually
so bad.
Rob actually solved it because he was like, yo, so it was me, Drina, and Brittany outside smoking, and Drina and I were standing on the grass, and Brittany was sitting in the chair, but like she didn't want she didn't want the smoke to, you know, I don't know. She was going like this to it. So I guess she blew the
she saw
ember
a kid next to her. And she
onto
was
the
like, no.
Oh, so it's Brittany. So mystery solved.
mystery
I
solved.
don't
Brittany
know,
did
but,
it.
you know.
Damn, I'm gonna unfollow their fitness page now because I don't want any part of that.
Wait, she saw a kid next to her?
She thought there was like a kid getting interest. She was like, no, stay away from me.
Oh my
She was like,
God. So they were secondhand smoking my son.
She might have been high.
Your son. I don't know if it was your son.
I want
There's
blood.
just a random kid in your backyard that day.
My shirt and my son.
She's probably high. She's like, oh no, a kid. It was just Rob.
I think it was just me. She thought it was a kid. I'm short. Like,
How tall are you for
5'5".
the viewers? 5'5"?
I'm 5'5".
5'5".
5'5".
5'7".
I'm not gonna lie and be like, I'm 5'7".
Oh, Matt, when you met me, were you like, because you knew I was 5'7", so you know I was short. So were you like,
Whoa.
oh, okay, he's actually taller in person? That's what you thought, right?
No, I was like,
No.
oh, does he have lifts on right now? Because I was like, he does look a little taller.
I think I did. Was I wearing my McQueens? The ones?
Yeah, I think you did have some giant ass shoes on. I was like
2 inches over us.
Yeah,
I was trying to step up here. And then I remembered like you were on a curb and I was on the ground. So I was like, oh, never mind. We're good.
That's how, you know, first impressions mean everything. So whenever I meet someone for the first time, I try to be on like a soapbox or like a curb, just so that they stay with that in their head. And then I can step down and then you're just like, you know, but it's always that first impression. I'm just kidding. You're taking it very seriously. I could tell.
Dude, I'm just paying attention to you. And in my head, I'm like, it's such bullshit. Like, I know when you're bullshitting right now. So.
No, I don't give a shit about being 5'7". Honestly, I've told this story before. I didn't even know I was short until way older, until I was like probably in my 20s.
And Liver King's 5'7".
I thought, honestly, anybody that was tall was just freakishly tall.
Damn, so I must be like a giant to you then.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, this guy, yeah, I would have been like, oh, yeah, he's just a little tall. But it
like,
was
what is that dude, 5'8"? Damn, you're like towering over me.
But I remember Drina was the one that was like, when we started dating, I was like 20 years old. She's like, you're so short. And I was just like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm average.
She's like, no, not your height. She's like, not your height.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, I didn't know until I was older, man. It's pretty funny. But all right, another thing going on this week. I watched this show Untold. Do you watch Untold on Netflix?
Which one was that? Was it the N1?
It's the sports one. Yeah, they
have.
Like,
was it the N1 mixtape one?
Yeah, I watched the Manti Teo, which is one they dropped last week.
Oh, yeah, where he faked his girlfriend.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, bro. Yeah, I seen a little bit of that. I didn't finish it though.
Did you watch it, Matt?
I didn't watch it yet. No, I watched the one I recently watched. I watched that DB Cooper. Did you see that one where he's like,
oh, that
dude
was
who
crazy.
like jumped out of the plane?
I hate stuff like that because I'm just like, what is the answer? Like,
yeah,
aliens,
they never. Yeah,
the answer.
I mean, spoiler, but there's no ending. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, I know. I saw that one. Yeah, they never get to the bottom of it. It's just like, I hate watching stuff like that. And I watched the DB Cooper one all the way through too. And I was just like, I know this is not going to give me the ending that I want, but
yeah,
it was pretty. Documentaries, the way they put them together nowadays, it's just like you're stuck. You know?
I know, you got to watch it. I'm like, I know this has no ending. Like, I can go on Wikipedia right now and find out the ending, but I got to just watch the rest of this because I got to see this guy talk on film. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah.
So what was up with Untold?
Yeah, so the Manti Teo story, I had never heard this story, but I guess, he was a football player that got catfished. But the controversy is that the person that was catfishing him then decided to give up on the whole catfishing thing and had faked their death pretty much.
Yeah.
And on the same day that his grandmother died, so it was like a big, huge story, college football story. This guy, having a hell of a season, and then his girlfriend and his grandmother die on the same day. He's dedicating the season to both of them. Then it comes out that his girlfriend doesn't exist because he got catfished, and he becomes like, a meme. And he actually went through a lot of stuff because of that. And it was really sad. But what I found interesting about everything is that, that happened to him before anybody even knew what catfishing was.
Yeah.
So they were just like, how could this guy have been dating a girl online that he never met for 3 years? And now we know what catfishing is, how effective it can be, and how much it could hurt people, and how much people can fall into it. But back then they didn't, so they just made fun of them, and it made me. Yeah, it's terrible. And you know, if that would have happened nowadays, people would have been more understanding. But because they weren't, they just like made fun of him.
Yeah, they went hard.
Damn, I didn't know it was that bad for him, because I remember hearing that story. Didn't he go to Notre Dame or something, I think, or like?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just makes me wonder what things are going on right now that we haven't identified yet, that we will identify later and make life easier for people. First thing I think about is like all the internet hate, like haters in comments and just like trolls.
Yeah. I mean, the sad thing is, like, I don't see that ending. You know what I mean? Like, as long as there's a forum for people to post, you know, anonymously, or not even anonymously all the time, but like, you know, you don't have to be face to face. You're always going to have that. You know what I mean? I mean, I remember, you know, like early days, like AOL, and they had like chat rooms or whatever. And there's still like, you know, I remember people talking shit back then too. Like, who's this asshole? Like, you know, and like typing in comments, you know, and all this shit, or just like saying stupid things. And it was just like, again, I think it's I mean, I don't go in and like troll people. Like, I don't find joy in that. Like, I'm not an internet troll, but I imagine like for that person, like, it's just a thrill of like getting that reaction from someone that you don't know, and then being like, haha, like, I got them. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing from it.
Yeah, I can't do it either, man. I can't bring myself to do it. I have a burner account on Instagram for, you know, when I want to bid on things anonymously, and I still can't even like, it'd be anonymous if I wanted to hate on someone.
Is that your is that the Distant Wonder account? All right, sorry.
No, but shout out Distant Wonder. But no, but I just can't bring myself to do it. In fact, the other day, little story. So I posted a reel of me, like my outfit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get this outfit that I'm wearing.
Was it one with you like shirtless again? Because I mean, I feel like that's all you do now, just shirtless reels.
I think I think I was shirtless.
I'm like, this guy is surrounded by t-shirts and he never wears a t-shirt. I'm always just baffled.
Yeah, somebody said that to me the other day. Well, it's because, like, I mean, I always took off my shirt, even before I was all fit. Even, you remember on the lives, I'd just take off my shirt and I was just dad bod, tubby. Look at this. So this is when we got.
That's like your Super Saiyan, right?
Yeah, we went Super Saiyan, and this is me taking my shirt off on the live. Trina made a coffee mug out of it. But look at that boy. Look at that dad bod. Tubby boy right there.
Tubby boy.
So I've been taking my tee off. I don't care, man. But it's just now I just look a little sexier when I do it.
Yo, word. Preach. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Got to do it.
No, yeah. But what were we talking about again?
We're talking just like where the internet's going, kind of with like what's like happening right now that we'll see in the future.
Oh, no. About the haters. Yeah. So this guy went in, I was like, yo, rate my fit in the comments. Now, when I say rate my fit in the comments, I definitely don't think I'm like a fashionista. I just do it for fun because that's what Instagram is now. So I'll post my outfit. I'll talk about it. Not gonna lie, I have fun doing it. So I'll do it. You know,
Wait, hold on. Before you continue though, were you wearing those toe shoes?
No, those were strictly for fitness. I'm not gonna.
All right. Because if you were,
wait a minute, like, are you challenging me to put a fit together with those?
Yo, my man, those are like a -7 if I had to rate you. Like those are those and those chanclas, man. I'm waiting for the day when you combine them though. Like you wear the toe shoes inside the chanclas and like,
dude, is it Balenciaga? I think Balenciaga has a toe shoe boot. It actually is kind of fire. It's like 2K. I think it's them. But anyway,
it might be in the year 3000.
I show my fit, and then some guy, I get the notification on my phone, some guy hating, and he goes like, is this serious? And he says like, you know, some negative comment. And so what I like to do when people hate on my fit is I like to go look at their fits. But I don't comment anything, but I'm just like, I just like to see like, oh, okay, you're trash too. All right. So I'm not, or you're a private account. Okay. You don't care. All right. So I went and go look at this guy's account, and sure enough, he's got trash fits. Okay, we're in the same boat. And but he has a shirt, a really rare shirt that he says is for sale. Or actually, he was going through all my posts. Just like leaving negative comments. And one of them is like, I had posted a shirt, and somebody said, I wish I had that shirt. And he responded to them saying, I have that shirt in an XL. So I went and messaged him, and I was like, hey, I heard you had the shirt. I saw your comments. I was like, I want that shirt. I ended up buying it from him, and I have the shirt now.
Yo, what is it?
the moral of the story is it's this account right here.
Oh shit. The moral of the story is, dude, trolling pays.
No, moral of the story is that we all have whack fits, but the difference is that I don't hate.
Are you a hater?
Yeah, just like, you know, we all, you know.
I mean, I can't lie though.
How do you handle that?
That shit paid off for him though.
Yeah, it paid off for him. Like, I don't hate. I'm like, he's got a T, I'm gonna get it. So you could see someone with whack fits or someone that, but it's just better to just like not. Why even say anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah. We let them hate and you show love, bro.
I think I'm gonna take his approach though and just start trolling like every account, and then like they'll be like, yo, that t-shirt's dope though. Like I know it. Like I know I just said everything you did sucked, but like let me get that t-shirt on a half price deal for you. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those.
I got this pop tee.
Yeah, but like it is, I mean, again, I don't think it's going anywhere in terms of that. It's the same, it's been like this for decades, you know what I mean, of like the internet usage. But I think, you know, like I think what's happening now is just like almost from like private companies that have access to all your stuff, and like that's gonna start coming out more and more. I feel like they're gonna.
That's a new thing that I've been hearing about.
Yeah, like Facebook or whatever, the Meta, whatever it's called. Like, I mean, the amount of data they have on individuals, and I'm not trying to get into like this, like, you know, semi-political landscape by any means. I'm just saying, like, all these, you know, the big, like Google. I mean, they've had stuff for years and years because like your data is the most valuable thing. Like that's, you know, at the end of the day. And I mean, all it's going to take is like one breach, and they're going to have like logs and logs of like your messages, your conversations with people, like, you know, all that stuff. And I feel like that eventually will probably come out one day.
I can see that for sure.
It's the same way, like, remember like celebrities were getting like hacked or whatever, and like they were like, oh, my nude photos leaked to like this person.
So what you're saying it'll be that these companies get confronted about all the data that they're collecting about us, or that
I mean, I think
collecting leaks to like black market.
Yeah, I think the leaks are going to happen. Like, I think more and more, and I think we've already kind of seen that. But I think, you know, eventually it's just, I mean,
happened a few times already.
Yeah, there has been instances, and like, you know, certain people find out your information, you know, and like see what you're writing back and forth. Like, there's never like anything truly private, I feel like, these days. So it's just, I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like anti like government by any means. Like, no. I'm definitely not. Like, I write stupid shit all over the place, but like, but I just feel like you have to also know like everything you're doing is public at this point, like in our lives. Like we're just public, man. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I think like the sooner you would just embrace that, you're like, all right. I mean, if you don't want any of that, like completely stay off the internet, you know what I mean? But it's just, we're just in a public landscape, you know what I mean? Like people post photos of like themselves every day, and like, here's my comments on like everything I did today. And like, you know what I mean? It's just like,
so not even my incognito mode is safe on my phone.
Oh, dude, they got you, man. Zuckerberg is probably like, Zuckerberg might be outside your house right now. Like,
I guess we're all gonna know how sick we all are very soon.
Yeah, man. Those FitPic ratings are gonna be dropping soon.
All right. The other Untold story that was on is the N1 story. That was crazy because I remember those shirts, like all the trash basketball shirts. That was 90s.
When in high school, I bought all that. The N1 tee.
Oh yeah.
The line with like FUBU and N1.
Yep.
And they had like the FUBU character doing basketball stuff, and they had N1 and stuff. I bought all that stuff, bro.
It would be like that tagline, like, go get your notebook because you got schooled. And like it would be like that like basketball dude. It's funny because I actually still have my pair of N1s from like 7th grade, the shorts. I still have them. And I still wear them, but like, yeah, they held up magically. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't watch the mixtape last. We saw the preview for it last night when we were watching Netflix. I'm like, I gotta watch that because like I remember they used to have those on ESPN, like all the N1 mixtape tour, and it'd be like.
I just remember going to school and people would tell me about like, oh yeah, AO or Hot Sauce and all the different players. I never saw any of the mixtapes, but
what was the doc?
The Professor.
The Professor.
Yeah.
Your kid, right?
Everybody talked about them. I remember that in high school. That's all. Like people always talk about. They were like, "Oh, look at this move," and they'd mimic the move. And as I was watching, I was like, "Yeah, I remember trying to learn those moves." And I actually do remember seeing those clips. It's crazy the impact that they had. You know, to have that kind of impact. They were viral before, and they say this in documentary. We were viral before, you know, social media.
Yeah, because I remember you had to like they had those on ESPN, but I think you could go buy the VHS or whatever it was.
Yeah.
back then, and they'd have like all those tapes that were like set up like that, where they went from like city to city. But yeah, I actually have that on the list. I want to watch that one because I was definitely a big N1 fan.
Yeah. Okay. Then I don't want to spoil it for you. I want you to watch because it's actually really good. But there's some pretty cool points in there that remind me on the next podcast. We'll talk about some of the things. Yeah, we'll bring it up. But yeah, man. And then let's check in on the Operation Fade to Gray. Oh, I don't have my shirt. Drina just washed it. But for everybody who doesn't know, I decided that I got a shirt. It's a Keith sweatshirt. How fitting is it that I'm sweating out this Keith sweatshirt?
I thought that was on purpose.
No, it didn't. But it's just
right.
like poetic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this shirt is in brand new condition, right? It's like jet black. It's a black T-shirt. But I want my rap tees to have a nice fade to them. So I decided to do this experiment. And I had washed it like 3 times, washed and dried it. I'm just like, by the time this thing gets the fade that I want, it's going to be years, you know? So how do I fade this now? It's always been a big question for me. How do you fade a T-shirt? I've heard of like, oh, you do this like chemical wash, but it gives it this unnatural fade that I don't really like. I've tried laying them out in the sun, but they get this weird brown fade. So I was like, how do I get the perfect fade? I have yet to see anybody who does it exactly the way it's done naturally. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do it naturally. Let's go jogging in the shirt for 30 days in the sun, sweat it up like I feel like some construction worker would have done to the shirt, just working in it every day, day after day, or, you know, working in that same T-shirt often. And that's what I've been on today. I'm on day 21, starting to see a nice little gray fade to it. And yeah, we got 9 more days. So what do you think about that project that I'm working on, Matt?
I like it. I was wondering at the end, are you going to do like a side-by-side? Like, did you take a day 1 and a day 30?
So for day 1, I don't know if I took a picture. I'm really bad at taking the pictures, but I did take a video and I held it up in the video. But
okay,
the video's not doing it justice. But we'll see. On day 30, I'll do a side-by-side of the video and see if
I think, or you should just do a side-by-side of like, you know, the shirt, like, you know, half of it, and then up to like a different shirt, like, I don't know, one that you don't sell. Like that Smashing Pumpkins is super black, it looks like. Or not faded too much, like just like a straight up like regular black tee, just so you can see the difference. But
no, the Smashing Pumpkins has a light fade to it. I think
does it? Okay.
The Count has a nice jet black to it. So
okay.
And that's probably why I didn't take a pic, because I was like, it's just black. It's a black shirt.
Yeah.
No fade to it.
Yeah. So I do a side by side at the end. Yeah.
So I watched it 3 times before I started the experiment. Didn't get a fade. I've watched it 3 times. This is the 4th time right now. Actually, it's in the washer right now. But
so wait, what's the method now? So like you're running in it for like what, an hour?
20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes.
20 minutes. Oh yeah, I forgot you can't run that far. So like so you're doing your little like jog walk, power walk thing, and then you're
with my pink weights.
Yeah.
Little hand weights.
Just jazzercising down the street.
Oh yeah, I'll do a 20-30 minute jog, get home, and then
120 degrees of heat though.
Dude,
yeah, and then you know when you stop working out, you keep sweating, you actually sweat even more.
Yeah.
So I chill in that sweat. I'm really letting the sweat soak in, and even after I'm done, I wipe the sweat and then I ball it up. It's all wet. I leave it for like an hour or 2 just in the sweat. This probably sounds disgusting.
Where is this at though? Like, is this like on your couch or just
this
like?
Probably sounds disgusting, guys. But every vintage T-shirt that you buy has been sweated in.
Yeah,
moves
for sure.
But no, it's outside. I don't keep it in here because it's gonna stink up the crib. But yeah, I just ball it up and then I dry, and then I open it up and dry it, let it dry in the shade. So no direct sunlight other than when I'm jogging, and just sun and sweat, and it's starting to get that fade. So somebody said that your sweat will bleach it. And I don't know if you've noticed, like when you wear a hat that you sweat in a lot, it gets the marks right here.
Yeah.
So the sweat, I believe that the sweat is going to bleach it. I think the sweat is actually more effective than the sun. So I'm even thinking of, for the next experiment, doing 30 days no sun and just treadmill.
Seeing what happens. Oh, indoor
treadmill. Oh, okay.
Indoor treadmill, pure sweat, baby.
How are those pit stains doing?
So I don't wear deodorant.
Okay.
And if I do, it's like an all natural one. So no pit stains, no stinky, no clumpy.
What about like heart, like cow heart or whatever? You're like rubbing that on, like Drina's like, I got your deodorant for you, and just like chops up. Just got that liver.
Throwing the liver up. No liver, no heart.
Liver bars.
Yeah.
But so I think the next challenge you should do is the box of brief challenge. So like 30 days of that, just like no washing, and just see like how raggedy they get at the end of 30 days.
To see if I could burn a hole through the booch.
Like see if it looks like the t-shirt that got burned, they got ashed by Britney. See if it looks like that, like a pair of.
All right, let's close it out with the movie review. That's I kind of want to end these shows with a movie review.
All right.
The movie review for this episode is the movie Nope. I went to go see it last week, so here we go. Here's my little.
I thought I got to review something. I'm like, yo, didn't even tell me what movie this was.
Have you seen? Have you seen it? Have you had a chance?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh,
All right, so last week I went to go see Nope, the latest film by comedian turned horror suspense / thriller storyteller Jordan Peele. It's about a brother and sister who run a horse ranch when they start to encounter weird activity in the sky.
Classic storyline. Yeah.
Do you like alien movies?
Yeah.
What's your favorite alien movie?
Just like E.T.
Alien.
E.T.? I thought you didn't want to be wholesome.
No, I like I like Signs a lot. I thought Signs was dope.
Ooh, Signs
Signs
is good.
Fire.
I was just saying the other day that there hasn't been like an all-out aliens versus human movie since Independence Day.
Yeah, Independence Day was good. I mean, those were that was like good action, but like Signs was just like that creepy, M. Night style movie.
Yeah. But I like that. I like that take, the horror take. Arrival, the more cerebral take. Amazing. Arrival's so good. You've seen Arrival, right?
Yep.
So good. But yeah, man, I honestly had to skip on Nope at first because I had heard mixed reviews, and I don't know if you're the same way, but if I'm gonna go to the movie theaters these days, it's got to be a tour de force type situation, because I'm not just gonna go spend the gas, spend the time, get a babysitter, go to the movie theater to go watch a mid movie. It's maddening.
Yeah.
It's got to be like. It's got to be on the level of like Spy Kids 3D for me to go see it in the theater. So like,
dude, I saw Buzz Lightyear this year, and
oh man,
it's so bad. Did you see it?
No, my wife and kids saw it. I didn't even bother with it. I just don't. I saw like the art for it. I'm like not into it.
The first act was good. I was like, this is interesting. This is a take. I like this take. And then second act, I'm just like, oh. Trash. Second, third act, just like not boring, like missing the Disney magic. I don't know. It's just, when they used to make movies that were just fun. Now they just try to add so much to it to just make it more than just a fun kids movie.
Yep, I agree.
But so I had decided to skip on Nope, but hosting the lives, people always ask me what do I think about this movie, because I watch so many movies. I love movies. And I got mixed reviews on Nope. But like intriguing mixed reviews. They were like, I like it, but it was really weird. And they were like, Chris, you should go see it. Like it was the first time people had said, go see it. We want to hear what you had to say. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go check it out. But before they had intrigued me to go see it, I had looked up the spoilers, which is something that I do when I decide I'm not gonna go watch the movie in theaters. I'm just gonna look up spoilers. I'm not gonna go watch this movie. I did that with Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange. The spoilers had me like, wait a minute, this sounds really tight. Yeah. How could this be whack?
Yeah.
And then I went to go see it.
I did that shit with Titanic, and I was like, damn, what? Like,
so I looked up spoilers on Nope, and I think that might have helped me, because if I would have gone in expecting a straight alien movie, I could see why some people might have. Was that the main point of people not liking it? Is that the antagonist?
No, what I read was that a lot of people just didn't understand like a lot of it jumped from like situation to situation. So like the situation from like the aliens going to the monkey and stuff, people didn't understand how that connected. So they're like, this is random. Why is
so it has like a lot of like layers to peel back and themes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's got good rewatchability, like medium to high rewatchability, because you're gonna want to go back and be like, what did this mean? And it's not like you're only going back for that. It's an entertaining movie. It's got a little comedy to it, a little bit of, it's got some scares in it. And it's nice to look at. Very nice. Did you know that all those night scenes when they're on the farm, that was actually shot in the daytime?
No way.
And they made it look like night.
Oh, they recolor it?
That's why it's so dope.
Yeah, because I was like, damn, this looks like how it really looks when you're out in the wilderness or like out in the open field in the middle of the night, like where you could see people, but it's like a blue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's got that thing, yeah.
fog and everything, you can still see all the stars. Like, it looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It looked visually striking.
But even if I wouldn't have looked up the spoilers, I know going to see a Jordan Peele movie, you got to leave your expectations at the door and expect to be, all your expectations subverted, because he's a storyteller that takes pride in telling you something unique and different. So I got to say that for me, Get Out lived up for me, Get Out is a classic. But this one was going to be a make or break for me because I do like Get Out, such a unique story, classic, nothing really like it. But Us, I couldn't really sit through it. I couldn't get through it. So Nope was going to be a make or break situation for me. So glad to say that it's as good as Get Out for me. It's gripping. Yes. It keeps you locked in. It's a cool story. It's a great take on the Alien movie. It's not afraid. Like, it lives up to what you would expect from a Jordan Peele, but it's not afraid to go left on you and be like, look, I know what your expectations are, but I want to tell a unique story. And I really appreciated that.
That I understand. Yeah, I appreciate it.
The third act didn't really stick the landing as good as the first and second. It wasn't as gripping, but it wasn't terrible. No. So I'm going to give Nope a 7 out of 10. And I think it's worth getting a babysitter, paying that expensive ass gas, and going to watch it in theater because it's a cool little experience.
For a cool watch. It's a cool watch.
I think you should add. So I know like this like layout might be in like, our like retro style OS layout for when we do this talk, So I think you need to have that rating system, but I think it should be like, 7 out of 10 toe shoes, and then like the toe shoes like line up on the bottom of it, or
just
they like raise up.
All the toes in the shoe, and then like 2 toes.
They just like flip down.
seven toes up, guys. I'm gonna give it 7 out of 10 toes.
7 toes up, yeah.
Just put your feet up like
oh, dude, and in that movie, they wear a bunch of vintage.
Major vintage.
They were.
Oh, really?
Keith Palmer is wearing nothing but vintage tees.
So I actually saw an article after that. That if you look at each tee, it says something about the scene or what the characters are going through in that particular film. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, a bunch of vintage in there. So shout out whoever was the costume, the wardrobe manager. Is that what they call him? Or stylist on the movie? Because for a t-shirt guy, it was really cool to see these rare tees.
Yeah.
And actually, for me, made me start developing my own backstory for the characters and like how they got the tees. Like for me to get engaged,
Virtual Flea.
I really appreciated it. No, I was like, because their dad is a big part of their story.
Okay.
I was like, maybe they got them from their dad because their dad was doing this in the 90s, and it was like it's a whole. I don't want to go too much into the dad because that might spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen the movie. I want you guys to go see the movie, man. It's pretty cool, and then we could talk about it on Virtual Flea. Matt, thank you so much for hanging with us, brother.
Thank you, guys.
I know you. You were not kidding when you said you got to get your sleep, brother. Man, I love you for coming over. I love you for you're a friend. Thank you, man. I hope you had a good time.
Appreciate it. Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you again. I was honored to be on and chop it up with y'all.
Yeah, for sure, brother. Oh, okay. Good seeing you guys.
Oh, what is it? 6:45. Time to pack it in, guys. All right.
All right, man. Well, we'll be in touch, man. Love you, bro. Have a great rest of the day.
See you later. Bye, guys.
See you, brother. Peace.